I welcome you all to this episode of Philosophy Lectures with A Prof. Tunde Akande. In today's episode, we are discussing the topic titled The Error of Relativism. The Error of Relativism. Relativism is a philosophical concept that suggests that knowledge, truth, morality are not absolute, but are relative to perspectives, contexts, or frameworks of individuals or groups. Now, why do we say there's an error in relativism? This is why. Relativism leaps from the correct observation that our perceptions vary to the erroneous conclusion that 1. Truth is relative. 2. That we have no way of determining what is true and what is false. According to this view, for any empirical claim, one hypothesis about that claim is no more reasonable than its denial, which means that there is no more reason to believe that the claim is true than that it is not, and that it is consequently unreasonable to believe in its truthfulness. It is also the view expressed in the claim that for any claim, there is an equal and opposite claim. Now, the ridiculous implication of this belief or stance can be exposed using the following example. If I say, for example, that Abuja is the capital city of Nigeria, and another says Abuja is not the capital city of Nigeria, we have no way of knowing which of these claims is true and which is false. What could be further from the truth? For we know that all we need to do in this case is to check against what corresponds with reality in this matter and discover which is true and which is false. So, the fact that different people perceive reality differently does not mean that every perception is right. Some perceptions are wrong, and they are the ones that do not correspond with reality. Also, that we have varied perceptions does not in any way mean that truth is relative. What is relative is perception, not truth. No individual perception is equivalent to the truth. Even our various perceptions are just approximations or aspects of the truth, if they correspond with reality. Where they do not, they would not even form any part of the truth. So, even collectively, our perceptions may still not equate with the truth. The truth is out there, bigger than our perceptions. It is constant and objective. We perceive it rightly or wrongly due to various factors. So, the fact that we perceive differently does not mean that truth is relative. Truth is not relative, but perceptions are. It also does not mean that every perception is right. For an illustration of this last point, let us imagine a classroom experiment in which the teacher pours some hot drink into a transparent container and thereafter throws a live worm into the hot drink. The worm dies in the medium of the alcohol within minutes. The teacher now asks the students to interpret what they had just observed. One student stood up and said, "The experiment showed that alcohol kills and should therefore be avoided." Another said, "The experiment showed that alcohol destroys worms and should therefore be consumed to get rid of worms from our bodies." So you see, they interpreted the same reality differently, but they were not both right. One was obviously wrong in his interpretation. So, reality is one big whole. We perceive aspects of it from our various positions. And even what we perceive, we interpret in our various ways. Sometimes some interpretations are wrong. So, while our perceptions are relative, it does not translate into the claim that truth is relative. It also does not imply that every perception is right. Some perceptions are indeed very wrong. But because of the need to respect everybody's perception, because our own perceptions can turn out to be wrong, we must observe the following. Number one, we must exercise polite doubts, which means to hold our views not as absolute truths that can never turn out to be wrong, but as tentative solutions, which must be held with some elements of reservation. Number two, we must maintain intellectual modesty. And number three, we must use only persuasion, not force, to show people superior arguments in order to win them to our camps. Okay? Let me conclude this lecture with the following quotes, which I found in the website of Ladies Against Feminism. Without an unchanging standard of truth, there can be no consistent logic, coherent thoughts, or reasoned debates in the first place. If truth is whatever you make it, then it is pointless to argue at all. Each individual can live in his own little cosmos of self-created logic and must therefore allow all other truths to coexist peacefully. This is a logical and moral impossibility. Of course, there is no such thing as a universally tolerant individual or society. If we have to tolerate all forms of behavior, then we must welcome the lawbreaker and treat him with the same respect and courtesy with which we treat the lawkeeper. After all, law cannot be absolute if we all get to define it ourselves. I want to believe that my message has been well driven home, so I want to pause here for today while I allow you to reflect on what I've said so far. The bottom line of what I've been trying to say in all of this is that relativism commits an error. It commits a fallacy of observing that perceptions are relative, and on the basis of that leaps to the conclusion that truth is relative. It thereby equates perceptions with truth, but they are not the same. Perceptions are perceptions, truth is truth. Perceptions do not equate to truth. Perceptions are human. They are human ways of seeing reality. And every human being perceives or sees reality from his angle. Quite alright. But those perceptions do not equate with the truth. So while perceptions are relative, truth is not relative. It is perceptions that are relative, not truth. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy what you have heard, I encourage you to like and share this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification icon so that you can always get notified each time I upload a new video. And don't forget to send in your questions and comments so that we can address gray areas, because it is practically impossible to exhaust any topic within one lecture space. Till I come your way again in the next video, bye for now and have a lovely day.